So earlier we discussed how companies are adopting a mobile-first strategy to compete in a very competitive marketplace as new startups and entrants are coming into traditional marketplaces with the luxury of having a greenfield architecture and environment to build out from. But adopting a mobile-first strategy also presents some challenges that we discussed. And I'd like to get into how platform as a service can help address those challenges so companies can build high-quality software and put out a release as quickly as they would like to. But before we get into that, I want to get into the marketplace and what's available today and what we've seen companies go towards before they've started to look at platform as a service. So you've probably seen a plethora of mobile application development platforms or mobile application platforms. Coney, IBM Worklight. These technologies in theory sound great where you develop once and deploy to many, but in practice there are actually some issues that present themselves when you do this. And a lot of companies are going more towards true native development. We'll get into that later. Also mobile backend as a service, as well as in some ways a mini infrastructure as a service or platform as a service for companies that don't have an environment in which they can host the application. And these technologies are off-premise and sit outside the firewall of an enterprise. So we have the user up here with the application on the smartphone, and we have operations of the company and the development from the company down here. And some of the challenges that we've seen in this type of off-premise hosted world, we see the operations people lose quite a bit of control about the entire release management cycle. Also lose quite a bit of control about scalability because you have noisy neighbors to contend with for resources, as well as integration. Integration with systems of record and the applications that serve the data that end up going to the smartphone. These applications are down here inside the four walls of the company. So as a result, what we see sometimes is the application can be slow because of some of these things here mentioned, as well as development may have some challenges putting out new releases, getting through that cycle fast enough. But most importantly, what I've seen is that the companies that have outsourced all of this, they've grossly underestimated the number of downloads that they were going to get. And when that happens, they pay through the nose when they do that. So let's get into how platform as a service can address some of these concerns outlined. So platform as a service from Pivotal is called Pivotal Cloud Foundry. And it is built on what is becoming an open standard called Cloud Foundry. You may have seen a press release in December about the Cloud Foundry Foundation, in which almost every major IT vendor, whom you probably know, these are household names, they are contributing code along with us to this open source project called Cloud Foundry. And with platform as a service for mobile, you are able to use microservices to provide capabilities such as push notifications, as well as to provide an API gateway for APIs both inside and outside the company with customers and partners, as well as data synchronization. And with platform as a service, because Pivotal offers an on-premise solution here, the company, the corporation, the operations folks, as well as the developers, they're able to regain some control of the release management cycle and able to reduce some of that friction associated with the hosted world. They're also able to gain control of the scalability, do things such as auto scale based on user demand, as well as the integration. I mean, who better to provide the integration with the systems of record than the operations and development people themselves? And there's a strategic advantage of having your own platform as a service inside the four walls of your data center with the applications and the systems of record. And so the users typically experience an application that is more highly performant, and the operations people gain a lot more control. So let me give you an example here. Before that, Pivotal Labs is very well known for its extreme programming labs business that has been around since 1989 and doing mobile work over the last 5 to 7 years. And in that time, we've produced many applications that have led to 400 million app downloads. And these are with household startup names that you've heard of. Many of you may have them on your phone right now. We can talk about some of these examples later, as well as very large enterprises that we do business with, that you may do business with as well. And let me give you a recent example. There is a very large U.S. sports league that you probably have seen some games recently. They had outsourced this, some of this, specifically around push notifications. And the company that was providing their push notifications, sometimes the notifications weren't getting out in time. Sometimes the users that were trying to accept weren't getting, the acceptances weren't going through. And so as a result, they started working with Pivotal to create a more scalable app. And with the microservices and push notifications that we provide, they were able to provide a more scalable app so they could do mid-season releases very comfortably, and especially during games and playoffs and fantasy leagues. So that's how companies are starting to adopt a mobile-first strategy and leverage platform as a service to reduce the friction as they release their mobile apps more frequently, sometimes as often as 12 to 24 times a year. So thank you very much for your time today.